situation she is in, right? One of these girls is going to become the inaugural grapple champion. How do I say it?
The inaugural, the Grapplers division champion. And of course, also one of these women is going to suffer their first loss here in Fight Pro. We have an undefeated, well, we have 2 undefeated women here in this match, and that is on the line. That streak in addition to the title.
Somebody's taking an L and somebody's getting a belt, and those boots are sparkly. I love it.
Tiny Tanaily defeated Harleen Lopez and Demarius Dawkins. Gia Scott defeated, take a guess.
Demarius Dawkins.
Harleen Lopez.
And Harleen Lopez. You got it.
2 women, very similar paths to get here.
And we start with some fireworks. We got a spine buster already. Oh, we got looks like a broken collarbone.
Tiny Tanaily called the Suplex Queen for a reason, and that reason is self-evident as Gia Scott is finding out very painfully and personally.
Well, better that she learns right away, right off the bat. Now she can adjust the game plan. Low center of gravity for Tanaily, and Gia Scott's going to have to adapt.
Using that lower center of gravity to great effect is Tiny Tanaily, and the really Suplex Queen promised Gia was going to go for a ride. Did she lie?
It's almost like it's an unfair advantage for Tanaily, the way she's utilizing it. It's amazing.
Very smart move. She just hit that Northern Lights, right? And the pin doesn't count right now, so she didn't keep hold of that arm. She rolled right over and was looking to inflict more pain, but Gia Scott rolls to the outside for just a second.
And of course, Gia Scott did not exit the ring fully, and so therefore that violation does not affect. I don't think that she officially broke the hold by grabbing that rope break. She just kind of used the assumptions of Tiny Tanaily against her. Wrestlers are so trained to let go when you hit those ropes that you can kind of mentally take advantage of their muscle memory.
Has been issued a warning.
Well,
she doesn't seem concerned.
Spoke too soon.
No, she really didn't.
Gia Scott has been issued her first warning. No one wants to get disqualified in a title match.
As this match continues, I'm becoming more and more of a fan of Gia Scott. I thought Tiny was going to grab this W, but I'm just becoming more and more of a fan of Gia. She's in there. She seems motivated. She seems powerful. She seems well-trained.
She's very charismatic.
Focused.
What are your keys to victory in this match, Pelly Primo?
Well, Tiny Tanaily has to go back to what worked for her, and she's having a hard time doing that because Gia Scott adapted. So for Tanaily, it's got to be going back to making that low center of gravity work for you. For Gia Scott, it's got to be to throwing her off the way she is right now.
Of course, for the first 10 minutes of this match, our regular Grapplers division rules are in play, which means you can only win by knockout, submission, or referee stoppage. So Gia Scott going to try and wear Tiny Tanaily down as much as possible. And we see going for that first submission here, stretching Tanaily.
Tanaily's going to have to try and free her leg there from underneath Gia Scott, and she did. She did. Now she's got to battle to unisolate that arm. And there she goes with the low center of gravity to her advantage, tosses her right over.
Immediately pained in that back area, though, so that stretch paying dividends. And the more that Gia Scott can wear Tanaily down, not only is she doing damage. Oh, God!
Dumped her right on her head. Right on her head. She might be out.
Woo! That was an absolutely devastating move.
That was like a snap brain buster.
An implant DDT, pretty much.
Hey, there you go.
Whatever it was effective, and it hurts like hell. Now, I'm not saying that from experience, but boy, it certainly seems that way. And now, Russian leg sweep applied, and that may have been a real game changer for Gia Scott, everybody.
And I get giving her, like, getting right back on your opponent and inflicting more pain, but I might have gave it a second there, let the referee get in there, check everything out. Like, that could have very well been a knockout.
Now looking for that last chancery. Gia Scott immediately taking advantage of that neck injury like a true pro.
Crowd chanting for Tiny here. She's working her way out of this hold, though. Signs of life. That's more a sign of life. She might have a submission locked in here.
A mighty might, a pint-sized powerhouse is Tiny Tanaily. Always used to fighting from underneath, so she has gotten very, very good at it.
Wow, great move by Gia Scott there to take a hold of the situation again.
There's a level of presence that Gia Scott has. that you can't teach. She just seems so at home in a professional wrestling ring, Avery.
She seems very comfortable, and to be honest, I'm going to go ahead and say at this point in both of their careers, she is the better professional wrestler. But the best professional wrestler doesn't always win the match, right? We're all in different moods on different days. We're all fighting for different reasons. Tiny Tanaly's not here on accident. She's 2-0 for a reason. Maybe it's because people look past her due to her size, right? Gia Scott inflicting a lot of pain. Like I said, I think she's the better wrestler.
But is she the better wrestler tonight, and is she the better wrestler for 3 seconds?
And tonight that's all that matters.
And that's also one man's opinion. Pelly Prima, what are you seeing in this match?
Well, I'm seeing Tanaily about to get dumped again by Gia Scott.
As Killian McMurphy would say, the most dangerous move in wrestling.
Is that what he says?
He did.
I wouldn't know. I don't know much about the
It's
goons.
one man's opinion, as you said.
We've seen Dog Nation become the inaugural, or I should say the inaugural tag team champions.
You got them little puns going today.
Here in Fight Pro, who will become the Grapplers division standard bearer? Could the most dangerous move in wrestling for a second time?
Almost looked like she was going for a Northern Lights bomb right there, but she decided to go for the body slam instead.
These two are just beating the ever-loving heck out of each other. There is no love lost between these two. That's how badly they both want to be the first Grapplers division champion. Now, this division was built on finding talent that was gritty, that was willing to really hit hard and often. It's why pinfalls were not legal in these matches, and this is a great representation of that style.
I was a little bit taken back during Gia Scott's announcements when they said she was $170, right? I'd have put her at about $130, $135. But really, that just lets me know how much muscle that she has. We all know muscle weighs more than fat, right? And you can see she's
denser. It doesn't weigh more.
Oh. Well, then
because the things weigh the same. It's just how much of it weighs the.
Well,
okay, so
me.
She's very dense, which means she's very muscular. Hats off to her.
Tanaily off that second rope there, but she is met with a big boot.
Never let it be said you won't learn anything listening to wrestling, kids.
Hey, I teach life lessons when I do commentary, Jason.
What is your life lesson watching this match, Pelly Primo?
I'll tell you when you get older. Gia Scott got the arms grapevine here.
Now that clock is ticking. We are just over 3 minutes away from pinfalls being legal. Gia Scott has to be aware of that. Her best advantage is to try and finish this match within the next 7 minutes and 20 seconds, Avery.
Snaps her back onto her head, right? Even with that hold, that snap back all to that head and neck area. We saw that, what'd you call that? What kind of DDT was that?
Implant DDT, and it's been the difference in this match.
I would call it a dead DT, because that's what I thought just happened.
Wait a minute.
Well, we got some fight, folks. We got some fists flying.
She picked the ankle there. She picked the shin of Gia Scott and clubbed some forearms there, but Gia Scott recovered.
Every time that Tiny Tanaily has been able to escape, Gia Scott has found a new way to tie her up like a pretzel.
It shows you the power of the fans, right? Because it's every time, right? Tiny's got her ears open. When those fans want to believe in her, they want to see her overcome, right? Gia Scott in this matchup. They want to see her become the inaugural Grapplers Division champion, right? When these people get behind her, she shows up, and she's doing it again right now.
Tiny changing the game plan now, going for an arm bar. We had seen her basically just batter and beat Gia Scott with slams, but now looking maybe for that submission victory. Willing to change the game on the fly.
We're at the 6-minute mark, by the way.
Oh, my God.
Oh.
Right back to the head and neck.
Gia Scott just muscling Tiny Tanaily into the air and dropping her heavy on the ground. Both women attempting to recover at this point. And we are nearing that 10-minute mark where everything changes.
About 35 seconds away from a pinfall, being allowed to end this matchup.
How does that change your strategy, Avery?
For me, it just opens up a whole different bar of weapons that I know Pelly has and I have spent years mastering.
That's right.
Your Lamahi straws, your mouse traps,
Absolutely.
your small packages, your sunset flips. All of it, fair game.
Throw a seatbelt on them.
Get them.
You think Pelly mastered a hold?
Oh, brother,
Yeah, I
I
don't know
sure
if pins
did.
are holds. Right? Pelly's been in Tiny's situation a lot of times. Pelly's not
sure
the
have.
biggest guy.
I am
He's
just-
been in there with some of the biggest guys.
Giving
Pelly-
my pal Guff.
Right?
Look at this. Hey. She goes for the pin right away. Oh, geez.
And immediately, Tiny Tanaily looks rejuvenated.
She was like a little kid waiting to get on the swing when all the swings were taken. She's waiting, and she's like, my turn! Boom! Let me get this pin! Didn't quite work out, but she was pumped for it.
The opportunity has changed here, and now you were exactly right. What happens to all these suplexes? They become pinning combinations in a moment.
The dynamic has changed completely in this match.
There's, of course, only 4 minutes and 22 seconds left. What happens if this does go to a draw? I assume it will be determined by violation.
That was a beautiful
Oh, my
transition.
God.
I've never seen that
Oh,
day in my
my
life
God.
before.
Look at that.
The suplex queen, the straps are down.
She just straight dead threw her. She didn't even take the bump with her. She said, get off me. Eat that bump yourself. Oh, but there's a back elbow from Gia Scott.
Trying
And we
to go
are
for
alive here at the Monster Factory.
Trying to go for that devastating German suplex that got her noticed, and now looking for a choke of some sort, pulling down, and Tiny changing that game plan yet again.
So smart. Tiny tried to jump on the back, right? The high center of gravity of Gia Scott was a little bit too high for Tiny, so she knocked her down to size, and that chokehold is applied in the center of the ring.
That's right. Gia Scott's in a lot of trouble, guys.
And Gia Scott, there is no rope break. There is no rope break. But wait, she reversed the polarity. She reversed the polarity, and Gia Scott got it.
Hey!
That's three. Can she win off of a warning like that?
Absolutely.
Wow.
We all thought she was trying to break it. She was trying to use it as her advantage.
Yeah, she did.
Division champion.
That's brilliant win by Gia Scott.
Gia Scott took the violation knowing that she would get the victory. It was a calculated